It's Wednesday, November 29th. I'm at the West End Gun Club. It's just after 6:30 in the morning. I drove up to the range or when I was on the freeway, and it was pretty gusty on the freeway. Weather forecast said 6 to 8 miles an hour in the morning, but I would say it's about accurate, if not peaking at 10. I'm at the 22 range, or the 22 firing area at the West End Gun Club. I actually came out to shoot 22, so it's not a good day to be windy, but we'll make the best of it. I'm trying to sight in the CZ455, which I was actually sighting in 2 range vlogs ago with my father on Veterans Day. But what had happened is I swapped out the mount, or the scope base, and then I put another scope on there temporarily because I figured I didn't want to put the fixed power back on there. I wanted a variable, especially since the West End Gun Club plans on throwing or holding the NRL 22 match in December, so I figure I need a variable scope on that 22 rifle anyway. So I'm going to bust that out, I'll show off the mount, and we'll do some shooting. Setting up the lab radar just for fun to see if I can record or detect the muzzle velocities off this 22. Supposedly you might need there's an adapter because the lab radar requires, it does require the use or the concussion of the muzzle blast along with the sound in order for the lab radar to detect your shot. And since rimfire guns don't have as much muzzle blast as a centerfire, it could have problems detecting. So they have an adapter. I think it's basically a microphone that'll hook up to the side here. And then you kind of run it right next to your muzzle. I don't have that. I may get one. I don't really need to get muzzle velocity data off 22s, but it might be fun to have. I think the adapter is like $50. So I may spring for it sometime, but if it doesn't work today, it doesn't work. It's no big deal. But it'd be kind of cool at least to have that velocity data just for fun to see how this stuff shoots out of this 16-inch barrel on the CZ455. But we're gonna go ahead and make some settings here. Don't really need to adjust the weight units too much, but, the projectile weight. The projectile weight on the lab radar is only meant for when it calculates the energy on target at different distances. But we'll just go ahead and do it anyway, just for fun. I don't know if it'll go down. It should go down to 40. These are 40 grain bullets out of these SK, out of this SK ammo. Set my projectile offset to 6 inches, which is a lot closer than 6. According to Lab Radar's instructions, you should, if you're going to run it without the adapter, the air rifle adapter, you should run the rimfire gun as close as you can and run the Lab Radar ahead of the muzzle, which is kind of a bad thing in terms of safety because you may clip it if you're being careless, but will not be careless today. So if you can see here, this CZ455, I have my Razor HD Gen 2 4.5 to 27 by 56 on here, which is overkill for this gun. But I needed the variable scope, and I didn't want to use a 2.5 to 10 by 32 Viper PST on my SPR. So I just took this off my Remington 700 in the ATA AICS, which I'm probably going to do some mods to because I'm not really happy with that chassis anymore, especially since it has some play in the buttstock now, where the folding buttstock where it meets the actual main body of the chassis. So I'm going to get another stock or chassis for that, and then I'm send that out to get repaired, and then I'll probably just sell it. So in the meantime, we'll have that downtime. I'm going to go ahead and just repurpose that scope and put it on this gun. And this right now has the new Area 419 scope base, which I'm going to write a mini review on, and it's going to be posted on my blog at okavj.net very shortly. If you were looking at my blog and saw the show and tell article that I had for the CZ455 Tactical, I used the Murphy Precision scope base. And the problem with the Murphy Precision, or with pretty much every single Picatinny rail for CZ455 that's been out in the recent years, is they use set screws. So you slide the base over the 11mm dovetail, then you put set screws through the base, and it hits the receiver. So basically it lifts the base up from the receiver against that dovetail. And so you're putting set screws into the receiver. They use brass tip set screws, so it shouldn't mar or hurt your receiver. But the problem is, over time, that will tendency to back out. Even if you Loctite it, what's going to happen is that brass will eventually wear, and so it doesn't make the same contact, and eventually it'll just all start to rattle and then slide off until you retighten it again, which means you won't really know until you take off the scope, check the screws. So you have to do that on a regular basis. 419's solution is they just do a standard horizontal clamp, so it basically clamps laterally. And so you solve that problem. You can put 20 inch-pounds of torque on all the four sets, on the four clamp screws, and you're good to go, and there should be no issues of sliding off. And the cool thing is, on the back end, they have this pin that they drove through there, and what that serves as is a recoil lug. So you just slide this base forward of the receiver until it stops, then tighten down, then clamp down the screws. But that serves as a recoil lug for the base and makes everything nice and sturdy and secure. And they threw a bubble level on there, which is kind of cool. But if you want more photos and details on that, definitely check out my blog, ocabj.net. By the time I should have that article posted on my blog within a couple days of this vlog episode being posted on YouTube. So I threw this Razor HD on here, the Gen 2. The problem I didn't realize is when I was mounting the scope that the minimum parallax on this thing is just around 30 yards, and I had the target at 25 yards. We're going to go ahead and get a 0 for 25 yards. Relatively speaking, don't know how the minimum focus and the parallax settings will work, but at 25 and how that will affect accuracy. But generally it'll be working for, I guess, the NRL or those precision rifle rimfire matches. They're kind of working at 50 yards, give or take, plus 50 to 100 and then beyond that. So 25 is going to be just, hopefully you can hold it well enough with this parallax setting. It's bottomed out that you don't lose much as far as accuracy is concerned. But we'll see what happens. I bore sighted it at home. Just took the bolt off, threw a little black paster on the wall, dropped this on the floor, and then just tried to line everything up, and we'll see where we stand. So that first shot appears to be a bit high, according to this, 1.5 mils, roughly. So we're gonna come down right about here. Still a bit low. Another mil or so. And it looks like the lab radar is not picking up the shots. One thing I forgot to do on the lab radar is set the sensitivity. So I know it's dialed down. So what we're going to go ahead and do is pop out, adjust this. Oh crap, no. So we're going to set the trigger level. Oh, I had it on level 3. So let's set it to level, shoot, I think. Can't remember which one's the highest. Let's try 8. Actually need to dial down a little bit more before we take that shot. Too much. Still not detecting. So I think it's 1. Oops, turned it off. All right. So it triggered, but it couldn't track, which means the bullet's too small and we're at too short of a range. So a quick tip for those of you who have Rezero HD Gen 2s or anything with an LTEC turret. The set screws that hold the LTEC turret in place once you dial the zeros stop in on this tended to come out when I acquired it and was using it. So what I ended up doing is putting purple Loctite on the set screw, just a little bit around it, and then put that in there, and that's kept it from backing out. So if you need something, purple Loctite should be good. Just don't saturate it. Just put enough to get a little bit of friction there so the recoil doesn't cause it to back out. And you will not have any issues of it trying to unthread it out if you need to unthread it out. Purple Loctite's pretty safe. It's for small screws and it doesn't require much torque to remove. It doesn't require heat either, so. So it's setting off the lab radar, but it's not tracking the bullet. And I'm not sure if because the 422 is just too small for it to track. And if there's not enough distance between here and there before it can actually pick up. So when I dial out to 50, maybe when I take it out to 50, maybe I'll be able to get readings with the lab radar. For those of you who are looking for a rimfire empty chamber indicator, the NRA sells these things on their training and competition website. I'm not sure if it's open to the general public to buy these things, but these are really cool. I think they were pretty cheap when I bought them at the time, but I've got like a pack of 100 or a pack of 50. But basically it's tipped for a 22 chamber. So all I gotta do is just drop it in and it will fit the rimfire chamber and that'll function and it'll stick in there, and then it'll function as your empty chamber indicator, so they know that the gun is empty. Just to clarify though, that an empty chamber indicator simply means what it says. Empty chamber indicator indicates that the chamber is empty. A lot of people say chamber flag, but chamber flag is a poor term, because chamber flag only means that you got something in your chamber to indicate that your chamber's open, I guess. By definition, that doesn't mean that the chamber is empty. So a lot of chamber flags that are sold in the market actually don't extend into the chamber at all or very well, and so it's possible that you don't have an empty chamber, and so it's a chamber flag, but it doesn't indicate the chamber is empty. So there's a distinction there, and I'll probably talk about it in an article on my blog, because a lot of people don't understand the concept of a chamber flag and why you really need to have why you need to use the term empty chamber indicator, and why you need to use a true empty chamber indicator instead of just a regular flag. Here's the basic elevation zeroing here. I came first shot, second shot, third shot, fourth shot came not too low, fifth shot. So then I shot another group along this line here with a little windage adjustment, and I shot these 4 through this one. Then I did a slight windage adjustment and shot these 4, and then this one was the last one. So I think we're pretty good here. I think I bumped the elevation up a 1/10 of a mil, and then we'll take a couple more groups here, and then we'll bump it out to 50. Couple more groups at 25 yards. Here's the 4th group that I shot, which is really nice. Came down a little bit on the elevation and then tried to confirm it, and this is a little bit wild, a couple shots, but I think we'll settle on this elevation zero for 25 yards. We're gonna bump it out to 50. According to the laser, we're set up at 50.3 yards. Should be interesting to see how this goes. So the way this is constructed as far as this range is concerned, that there's like, you're deep into the hillside and the berm, so there's berms on both sides, about 25 yards and out, but the first 25, it's not so protected, so the wind will affect it in the first 25. Granted, I was able to shoot some pretty good groups at 25 yards, but wind may or may not factor in at that point, and so it'll probably, any early wind will probably factor in more at 50 yards. But we'll just try to get an elevation zero. That's kind of where what I want to do at this point, and then see if we can get the lab radar to detect. So I don't know what the drop is going to be. I don't have a ballistic calculator for this, but now we can actually use our parallax. All right, much better. All right. Let's see. Unfortunately, the target is moving a little bit, so we have to kind of time it with the wind as far as our shots are concerned. And the lab radar still didn't pick up the round. Target's moving. With the failure of the lab radar to pick the 22, I'm pretty sure I just gave some ammunition, no pun intended, to all the lab radar or the magnetospeed fans. Pretty much. Take two. With the failure of the lab radar to pick up my 22 rounds in flight, I pretty much gave some ammo, not intended, to the magnetospeed fanboys who, prefer that over lab radar. But I mean, I'll admit that the lab radar is not perfect. Obviously, there's no be-all, end-all solution for chronographs, but the magnetospeed definitely would have picked that up since it's not reliant on radar. And well, I don't know, maybe it should have, but given that we're shooting lead only though, the magnetospeed may or may not work. I don't know anything about the magnetospeed. I was gonna buy one just for fun, but I was gonna rig it up to my Masterpiece Arms chassis with their mount such that it doesn't mount to the barrel, it mounts directly to the chassis. But when it was all said and done, I priced it all out to get all the parts and everything. It was gonna cost about $600. So a lot of money to spend out of pocket just for an experiment. So I'm gonna hold off for now because there's other things I wanna spend my $600 on. But definitely I would say a magnetospeed probably may have worked better in this scenario. Don't know, but lab radar does have problems with smaller rounds from what I understand, so it is what it is. I'll try to experiment with that later, maybe figure out, go online or contact lab radar and ask them their recommendations on how to get rimfire to work correctly, because it did trigger it, it just couldn't track it. So anyway, let's shoot a little bit more on the 50, try to deal with this wind. So it's definitely getting a lot windier. You can tell from these shots. Here's what I was talking about. This is my first shot, then 3, then another one. Then this is up and down stringing. This is kind of where I'm at. I adjust the elevation. I kept coming down a little bit, but it seems like it tendency wants to float up. I've been trying to control the bag, but it seems like, I'm not sure if it's just the wind causing this hull to push up or what, and this is the last group, and it was all over the place. This was way out there, so you can tell it's getting windier. I'm probably going to cut this target in half so it's less of a wind, less of a sail in the wind as far as it moving back and forth, and it's just staple this back on the bottom to use it as a clean target. Here's the last few groups that I shot at 50 yards. It's a 5-shot group, which is really nice actually. This 5-shot group starting to open up, and then I shot this 10-shot group, which just kind of all over the place. I dropped a couple low, but I think it's centered around here. And then I was shooting off the tripod and just kind of messing around, but The elevation I'm controlling pretty well. It's just the windage I gotta deal with as far as the tripod's concerned. It's after 11 o'clock here at the West End Gun Club. I packed up all my gear and I'm about to head out. One other guy joined me on the rimfire range. Pretty nice guy. He's playing around with his brand new Browning Buckmark. But today is still windy. It got a little bit windier. It's a solid 10 miles an hour, maybe 12 gusts, which is going to be fine if I'm shooting center fire and I wasn't really trying to get a zero. But rimfire, trying to get a zero, no wind zero, windage, elevation zeros, it makes it a lot more difficult. So I think I got a general 25-yard zero and a 50-yard zero, but I need to come out on a less windier day and confirm it, especially the 50-yard, and then confirm do a 75 and 100-yard zero verification. But all in all, today was a decent day. I spent a bit of the time trying to take some photos for that project that I mentioned, or that product photography that was hard to do. I mentioned in the last vlog. So I was doing some of that between strings of fire, and so I took today off actually, and I planned to take today off, but today has turned out to be a project day for me. So I'm going to go get some food and then head home, edit the photos, and then have them ready to go when I indicated to the client that I would have them done. And then hopefully I'll have time tonight to cut the vlog, and then I'll upload it tomorrow morning before I get to the office. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's range vlog. It was all 22 shooting with the CZ455. And not sure when I'll vlog again. I don't have any plans to go to the range, but maybe when I find some downtime and there's no wind, as a no wind condition, I'll head over to West End and reconfirm the zeros with the CZ455. Oh, but anticipate that article on the Area 419 CZ455 base. I'm gonna have that. I could probably have that finished tonight actually, and I might upload it tomorrow or publish it tomorrow. And then don't forget that if you didn't watch my last vlog, that I'm going to give away a Fix-It Sticks bracket, which I think I have it here. Yeah, in this bag. This brand new Fix-It Sticks bracket, if this is going to focus. This is a Fix-It Sticks Shooting and Hunting Edition bracket with 2 Fix-It Sticks, obviously, a pair of Fix-It Sticks, and 16 bits. Brand new in the wrap. I'm giving that away because I bought it out of my own pocket. So I wanted to give one away on this because I do like the product. I use their torque limiters, and I think Fix-It Sticks is a pretty decent way to carry a portable driver set. And the bracket that they came out with is a great idea on bit management, especially when you just want to throw it in your pocket or in a bag. It's just perfect. So yeah, watch the previous vlog that was on the 24th. So I think it was vlog episode 45. But you need to watch the last segment. I'll explain to you how you can enter to win it, and you'll need to enter by next Friday. I believe that's December 8th. I can't recall. But whatever the second Friday in December is, just get your entry in by then, and I'm going to randomly pick one, and I'll send it out to you. But yeah, the details are in the previous vlog. So not this vlog, but the vlog before this one. Anyway, getting hungry, so I'm going to head out. Today is Wednesday, November 29th at the West End Gun Club. Today is a vacation day for me from work, but it's a project day now for my other stuff. So anyway, I will see you at the next vlog. You need to go out?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cleaning up, so I'm done.
You're done?